But, there could be trolls. There could be people that superimpose people's pictures. There's people, you sign up in a different email and you could pretend to be somebody you're not. But this is what they said. So let's see if we can discern this a little bit. And there's more than this, folks. In my opinion, evil people want to harm Tim Ballard because he knows who is doing what. Tim spoke at Congress last week against Biden. Did you guys know that? I didn't know that. That's crazy. So who is Doug? Apparently he's on a tour, and the guy that's on the tour with him shared some things where Tim is getting blessings of comfort. And like I said, we're not seeing these people's faces. We're not seeing them talk. We're just getting information sent via email. All right, crazy world we live in, folks, right? Russell Brand being accused of almost the same exact thing that Tim is. By the way, I've got a lot of news. Hold on a second. I got a printout. So the first thing I want to get to, I got a list of things. See that list of the cameras over here of things that I want to talk about. I just got off the phone with, Brother Palmer, and they are in England. He said he was at Westminster when I called. I had to call him because I wanted permission. He gave me permission to share some things with you, and we're going to get into that in a minute. The last thing I said to him was, do not drink the tea. You are not allowed to have tea and crumpet.
If not, he had to come back to her and block their copybook anywhere in the building.
He said, of course not. Unless it's herb tea. And I don't know if the Brits, I'm not too much of an herb tea guy, but I don't even know if the Brits are much of herb tea people themselves. Maybe the English that have joined the church. All right. So we've got a lot to get into. New breaking news since last night. And by the way, if you haven't watched, I know a lot of you watched the most recent video I put out where I said, this is sad. And I'm showing KSL, the news, but go to the video before that. You need to watch that if you haven't, where I talk about this request for comment and John DeLynn and all those folks. So go to that one. By the way, just some quick house cleaning. We're going to get into this. Don't worry. Thank you. Thank you so much for your donations. I've been getting them and it helps tremendously. My wife and I are in a very, very, very stretched income. Okay. She does hair for a living. I've got a little bit of a stipend. I'm a retired truck driver, but I'm doing this for a living. And it's hard. We are not homeowners right now. We live in an apartment. I think everybody's feeling the crunch, feeling the I don't know if it's Biden's fault, but we call it the Biden crunch. Actually, presidents have very little to do with the economy. Believe it or not, they have very little to do. That's a lot of that is Congress. And a lot of that is just bureaucracies, governmental bureaucracies and corporations that outsource, and it goes on and on. It's a culmination of different things. All right. So anyway, the first thing I want to get into about Tim Ballard, I was waiting for an email from Scott, from Brother Ballard, Brother Palmer. I don't know if I'm going to get it yet, but here is one thing that I do want to show you, if I may. This is an email, and I got permission to share this from Brother Palmer. I think he might be sharing this, or maybe he won't, or maybe he already did. This, we don't know. This might be speculative in nature, but this could very well be a something burger shared with Brother Palmer. And don't worry, I've got permission. He knows that I'm sharing this with you. And he says hi, and he loves you. He and Sister Palmer. She says, the aunt, is this his aunt? And I don't doubt it is. But, there could be trolls. There could be people that superimpose people's pictures. There's people, you sign up in a different email and you could pretend to be somebody you're not. But this is what they said. So let's see if we can discern this a little bit. And there's more than this, folks. Stick around. Do not go away. She says, Tim is my nephew. I wish I could tell you the truth in person. Elder Ballard called their family the moment this fake news was reported. He told them that this did not come from him. It did come from the brethren. No, it did not come from the brethren. He said there is sometimes a disconnect between church media and the brethren. Several of the 12 have called Tim and his wife. They expressed shock that this has been reported. Now, the reason I believe that 7 of the 12 would have called him, because usually that would not normally happen, right? We know that. But this is high profile. And this is the first time really that the church, if they weren't involved, they're seeing that all over the news that this is a press release, but it's not, right? It was a request for comment, but it is in a sense a statement from the church. So if they were disconnected from this, then they are concerned for Brother Tim Ballard and his wife and his children. But we don't, but Scott and I are like, we don't know if this is real. Okay. So if you're real and you'd like to come on the program for 5 minutes, we could talk. If you don't want to do that, that's fine too. I think I might blot out her name and maybe using her name. So they expressed shock that this has been reported in writing. In writing this, I have used exact wording so that there should not be a misinterpretation. I think she was rewriting some stuff. Tim has never, and I've said this before, and there's no quotes or any copies or any screenshots. There's no photo or pics of or quotes of him dropping a name. This is all alleged. She says Tim has never used his friendship with Elder Ballard for gain. In fact, Elder Ballard was the first to talk openly about their friendship. Tim and his family are standing against horrible evil. Pray for them, please. And then Brother Palmer says, so grateful for this information. This is exactly what I thought happened. Okay, so we don't know. We're just reporting what we saw. Okay. The other thing is, on my list of things here, I got the British bug. Let me check that. So we've got screenshots here. And here's another one. Where Palmer's saying this is great. This is a great question. The longer the church stays silent, the harder it will be for them to respond. My source, who is with Tim now, says that Tim is beside himself and with his wife have decided not to run for the Senate. Definitely signs of the times. And that's coming from Scott. Scott was going to send me some emails where apparently he's on a tour, and the guy that's on the tour with him shared some things where Tim is getting blessings of comfort. And like I said, we're not seeing these people's faces. We're not seeing them talk. We're just getting information sent via email, via text, via screenshots and via comments. So we're in the dark as much as you guys, okay? But that he is getting blessings and of comfort and peace, and I will check more to see it. Let me check to see if I got those emails from Scott. So the anti-Mormons are going to be persistent. RFM is just full of crap. So is John Dehlin. I think they don't respond to me because they think I'm an idiot. And you know what? I'm not the most wordy person. I get that. I'm a blue collar guy. But I'll tell you what, I'll keep it real. I keep it real, folks. Anyway, what's the other thing I want to talk to you about here? Evil Appearances email. Oh, and then there's a Utah anti-trafficker that's under scrutiny right now. You guys know who that is, right? Utah and it could be real, money issues. Some people do bad things. People that do things in the name of good do bad things. But there's also a lot of witch hunting going on too. Founder of anti-trafficker group charged with 31 felonies. Founder of anti-trafficking group charged with 31 felonies alleging forgery and theft. So that's going on. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but I'll leave the comment. I leave the link. So what's going on? Is this guy guilty, and he could be, or is this just part of the witch hunt? Timcast is saying that this is happening to several people. And the UK is telling Parliament to take not only off YouTube. I'm glad I live in the United States. The UK is nice to visit, but, don't want to live there. I don't really want to live there.
I've got British teeth. I do. I like to run with this. I like to embrace me British teeth. Yes, I do, miss. Yeah, I do, miss.
Anyway, so UK Parliament is pressuring Rumble of all people, to censor Russell Brand. Now, there's two things going on there. One is, will Rumble, what's the word I'm looking for? Will they bend? Will Rumble bend under the pressure? And if they do, that looks bad for Rumble, right? Because they're on our side, supposedly, right? And very bad for Russell. So they want to deplatform him completely. And because he speaks out against many of these different groups. And then RFM psychic and crap. Get out of here. Okay. So Timcast says Tim Ballard accused several prominent figures falsely accused with creepy allegations. Let's watch that.
How evil these people. Let's jump to this story first. I had another story I was going to jump to. We'll talk about this one from the Post Millennial. Tim Ballard speaks out against false allegations leveled at him after announcing potential Senate run. I will not stop. I will not give up. On Wednesday, Tim Ballard released a statement addressing allegations leveled from a press release from his Timcast IRL will be live in Miami with Patrick Bet David, Donald Trump Jr., Matt Gaetz, and Luke Rudkowski. Join us there. Get your tickets by clicking the link in the description below or by going to timcast.com. Let's talk about how evil these people. Let's jump to this story first. I had another story I was going to jump to. We'll talk about this one from the Post Millennial. Tim Ballard speaks out against false allegations leveled at him after announcing potential Senate run. I will not stop. I will not give up. On Wednesday, Tim Ballard released a statement addressing allegations leveled against him following his announcement that he was running for the Senate in Utah. Ballard read from a press release from his nonprofit, the Spear Fund, which read, Rescuing kids and fighting child trafficking is an ugly and dark business, especially when, as the result of my work for more than 20 years, we continue to expose members of the powerful, well-funded child trafficking cartels. Evil pedophiles will stop at nothing, and they have allies in government, in the media, in big corporations, and even in public institutions. They will continue to lie about and attempt to destroy my good name, and they will never stop. Ballard said he wanted to let everyone know that I and our vast army of supporters will likewise never stop. We will keep fighting for the vulnerable all over the globe, and we know that the truth will always prevail. I am a faithful member in good standing in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I believe in Jesus Christ, the Holy Scriptures, and I believe in our faith with my whole heart that will never change. Ballard said that it has been alleged that an anonymous LDS spokesperson issued a statement about me through a tabloid that is often hostile to people of faith. Further, my church has not publicly verified its authenticity. So we have this other story from the Post-Millennial. Utah DA closed criminal investigation into Operation Underground Railroad, Tim Ballard, in March. They're false allegations. What do you think is going to happen if you're hunting down trafficking cartels? Yeah, they're going to play dirty to try and stop you. The funny thing about this, the attacks against Russell Brand, the attacks against Julian Assange, and now get this, Rudy Giuliani. Oh, that's just, come on. It's just the only thing they have is they're like, how do we stop this guy? Just say he groped some woman or something. And it's like, okay, I guess. Yeah, we're at the point where it's like, dude, like I was saying earlier, you come at Russell Brand and we're like, that's kind of weird. They're all coming after Russell Brand. But he does have that past. That was his thing. He joked a lot about this stuff. You know, he there's a video someone posted where he's joking with a woman if he can get on with her or her daughters. And she's like, my daughters are 15 or whatever. He made some pretty crude jokes. And so you wonder, man, how responsible or irresponsible was this guy? But Tim Ballard? Like a Bible thumping, child trafficking, hunting. What? I'm sorry. The least credible allegations I've ever heard are the ones against Tim Ballard. It's just, there's no way I just, at this point, and they come out and claim that Donald Trump did something. It's just, no one's going to believe it. They could come out and say Andrew Tate was like abusing women at this point. And I'm just like, bro, all of this stuff, to be fair, they did come out and say that about Tate. I'm saying they could make crazier accusations at this point. I'm just like, Andrew Tate could literally come out and say those past videos, you know, or all of him saying these things. I'm not going to believe any of it. It's just, they try every single person. It's the only thing they have.
Okay. So you guys can go watch the rest of Timcast. You know where to find him. Very interesting, huh? Very telling. The right, you notice that the right never goes after people like this. Yeah, the right goes after people. I mean, we went after Nixon. That was a Republican thing, by the way. Republicans going after their own. We went after Clinton, right? In the 90s. We went after, the conservatives went after Larry Flint with the Penthouse. Or was it Hustler? I can't remember. We went after hardcore rap in the 90s. We were trying to do the same things, but not for nefarious reasons. Okay. There was still the cloak and daggers were still, you know, at work on both parties. But this was Congress. This is actually when Congress had a little bit of power still left. And we did still kind of have a parliament, you know, like a checks and balances, and the three branches of government worked a little bit. Now I don't believe we have the three branches of government. I don't think it matters. We're getting to the point where people are bought and paid for, and shadow governments and shadow leaders, and non-NGOs, non-governmental organizations are taking over. And the Constitution is, well, let's just hope that we can salvage it. But the right never goes after people like this. And I'm not talking about Republicrats, and I'm not talking about Republicans. I'm talking about true righteous people. Okay? The other thing is, let's talk about Doug for a minute. I do not know Doug. I've never met Doug. I've seen pictures of him, but did you know that I told you I tried to get into his LinkedIn and I couldn't. Okay. Well, check this out. Look at this. So I kept this LinkedIn thing. Look at this. It's Doug Anderson. They knew I was trying to get into it. Doug Anderson, Director of Media Relations, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And it wouldn't let me in. That's crazy. So who is Doug at a Doug? I want to read. Okay. First of all, I want to read you something someone said about Twitter and LinkedIn and Mormon WikiLeaks. I don't know Doug, so some of you are going to be like, I know Doug, you shouldn't be saying that about him. But could he have been behind the Mormon WikiLeaks 5-6 years ago? Who is Doug? He's political. I know that. He was before he got involved in things. Let's go to some emails and screenshots. All right, here's some interesting emails. One of them is someone reminded me, Tim spoke at, this is a reply. Tim spoke at Congress last week against Biden. Did you guys know that? I didn't know that. Against the Biden administration regarding sex trafficking, ST, open borders. Now this happens and it was all planned. If you don't follow their ideology, you're a target. You see the antis having a field day with this. It's not about Tim. This is bigger than one man. This is pure evil when government is ran this way. I only hear this from YouTube being an Aussie. Shame on them. Wait, I don't understand that last part. Wait, ran this way. I only hear this from YouTube being an Aussie. Oh, you're from Australia. And this is Mr. Randoms 11. Hello, mate. I know that's probably, you're like, get out of here, dude. Hello, mate. There's my Aussie, my bad Aussie. I think I do a better British accent than I do a better Australian accent. All right, here we go. Nudge, nudge, say no more, say no more. Nudge, nudge, say no more. That's you guys from Monty Python. Oh, and then here's this guy. Here's a reply. He didn't agree with me about FAIR. Do you guys agree with me about FAIR Latter-day Saint? If you didn't see that video, go back about 3 videos. You'll see it. Watch it. And by the way, just real quick, thank you. I said thank you for the Venmos. If you can drop $2, $3, $1, $5, whatever, it doesn't matter. It adds up. This is how I'm going to make my living until they jerk it out from under me. And then it's funny how they're starting to pressure people off Rumble. Okay. He said, ha! That's the first time I've heard FAIR called lefties. Absolutely laughable. You're making a mistake thinking FAIR is anti-Tim and not pro-church. Yeah, because FAIR has always been pro-church. You must think all... Dude, I have gleaned FAIR probably more than you have, Mr. Franklin. But anyway, I said because I've had since I've had this YouTube channel, I have responded to many of their academic lectures and all kinds of stuff, and I find them depends on who's giving the lecture. But they're not fair and balanced. There's certain people that should have a voice on there that do not fit into their little box. I've watched FAIR for many years and I've plugged them in the past. This is me. Use their scholarly lectures as references. I should probably rephrase it then. Whoever wrote that FAIR response, but should I rephrase it because whoever wrote it represents FAIR? So no, I go by their language, bro, by the language, and that it wasn't very supportive to someone who should be absolved of all things because they're not on trial anywhere. They're not under any investigation right now by anyone. They're not going to court on any criminal charges. They've only been supportive of the gospel of Jesus Christ and it's saving people and helping others. At least this is the type of person that Tim has been an example of. This is political. So yeah, the piece sounded awfully like something the mainstream media would put out about Donald Trump. It was the same language Vice used, the same language all these other outlets used. Inconspicuous, accusatory, inconspicuous, inadvertently, accusatory language. Christine brought something interesting to my attention. In my opinion, evil people want to harm Tim Ballard because he knows who is doing what, and they don't want others to know. What happens to Tim Ballard what is happening to Tim Ballard is disturbing. I support him, and we are and should pray for him. He is a good man, and I agree. Put his name on your temple prayer roll and pray. I'm going to include him in my fast. So anyway, I haven't gotten those emails yet from Palmer, but when I do, I will let you know. It's probably something he's talked to you guys about, the guy that's on tour with Tim and giving blessings of comfort and peace. Look in his eyes, brothers and sisters. Now, he's got cop eyes, though. Don't get cop eyes confused with evil eyes. Those are Moroni eyes. Those are hardcore eyes, brothers and sisters. They're not eyes of evil. Okay. There's 2 emails I want to share with you. Noah Riding and Peggy West brought up some very good stuff. Okay. Peggy West wants me to watch this, Undercover Heroes of female operatives on covert missions. See, this is kind of where the left, that the cloak and daggers can use this wiggle room to make it look like he sexual advances or sexual assault or sexual misconduct or harassment. She said, Troy, as always, I'm so glad that you are willing to stick your neck out and take some heat for getting to the truth. I'm not big enough yet, though, but when y'all are going to help me get big, so you need to spread me around and share my stuff everywhere. She says, I'm sending you this because I'm worried that his training women could be twisted into grooming women. Think about this. He's got to pretend. They got to role play. You guys have watched mafia movies and mafia series. Do you guys remember Ozark? You guys remember Ozark? How many of you watched Ozark? I watched the whole thing. It was good. It's kind of rated R-ish, but it's good stuff. They had to act like they were the real deal. And they're working for, they're laundering money and then it got crazy. So anyway, you've got to act a certain way and look believable or they're going to kill you. These people will kill you. They're in the midst of, so he's training, they're in the midst of enemies and traffickers. So he's training women and she's right. It could turn into something like, well, you were grooming her, really. What if one of these burn phones gets into the wrong hands because they use just, these burn phones? If Tim is innocent and people are convinced he is guilty, the $1 billion business of selling children continues. I don't know how it's all going to turn out, but it smells. Good luck. I pray for your decrement. I looked that up, decrement. I don't use that word very much. And it was kind of like your demise. I don't know. I don't think that's what she meant, though. Anyway, did I tell her thank you? Maybe I didn't. I should tell her thank you. Thank you for this. I am putting it, put that in your book. You guys remember Dances with Wolves, where the guy passes gas around the fire, and Kevin Costner, the guy he's playing, is keeping journaling stuff, right? And they're sitting around the fire at night, and this old hossy guy, not old, he's a young guy, but he's kind of he doesn't have a lot of bedside manners. He doesn't have a lot of well, he's eating a boiled egg, and then he farts, and then he says, put that in your book, and starts laughing. I could not stop laughing when I went and saw that at the movies back in the early 90s. I just could not stop laughing at that part.
What the hell's that? What is that? What the hell is that? What is... What? Put that in your book. What is it?
Were it not for my companion, I believe I would be having the time of my life.
Kill me.
So I say that a lot. Put that in your book. So I said, thank you, Peggy. I am putting this in my book or my video. All right. The other email is Noah writing. Noah writing. What did Noah say? Said something cool because I notated that I wanted to talk about it. Oh, Ballard versus Ballard, Vice News. They won't speak out about this, and it's because they're in a vice and being held under pressure themselves. Instead of condemning them, also pray for them. What's happening? First Nephi chapter 18 is happening right now. It's for our time right now. Nephi's brothers capture him and tie and bind him down on the ship. Doesn't Tim have this kind of Nephi-esqueness about him? I think he does. He's a handsome, strapping young man. Then they take control of the ship and are trying to steer it. The ship is threatened with destruction until repentance and rightful authority are restored. This is exactly what we're in now. Consider also the bride of the bridegroom is being harassed and censored, being held against her will while she waits for the bridegroom. She is anxious to meet the bridegroom, but is being pushed and pressured to not be able to do what she wants to or needs to. The woman and her child are threatened by the dragon as the birth pains take off. Revelations. Who is the woman? Well, we know the woman is the bride. Who is the bride? We are the bride, right? The children, the church of the firstborn. Who is the bridegroom? Jesus Christ. Do you think that the dragon wouldn't be trying to eat or squeeze her in its chains of captivity? Serpents squeeze their prey to be unable to move or respond. Compare 1 Nephi 18 with Revelations. This is why you are seeing strange church communications now. And they've been out about a couple of other strange non-standard church letters. And And there have been about a couple of other strange non-standard church letters in the last 2 years. I'm not sure what he means by that. Nephi's brothers represent infiltrator church employees. Think, trying to steer the ship from within towards wrongdoing. Old Testament has this also. Samuel the prophet witnesses Eli's sons doing wickedness as priests. Okay, so I wanted to end on that, but I also, back to what we originally were talking about. Doggone it, Scott. Talking to you, I'm all speaking this, talking like an Englishman. And back to this. Is this legit? Is this really his aunt? Is his aunt off the hook nutty? I'm just, is his aunt jumping to conclusions if it is her aunt? Is this all accurate information? If it is, it's beautiful. If it's not, once again, I pull back and we wait. But thank you so much once again for your continue to help become a member of the channel. I'm looking into private memberships so we don't have to give anything to the beast. But I'm thankful to the beast for allowing them on their platform, allowing me on their platform until they decide that I must stop talking. What else? I've got merch. It's kind of outdated. It's got my old logo and it's got a really cool logo that I designed. It's the Lord is at the helm, and it's got a ship wheel, steering wheel, whatever you call it. And that's cool. You can get t-shirts, you can get hoodies, all kinds of stuff, man. And I get all that money. Well, I get the majority. So we've got that. I've got Venmo and all that good stuff.